I'm Dave Baker.
And I'm Andrew Price.
Welcome to Deep Cuts, the podcast where we pick a topic and then walk you through the ins, the outs, and the nitty-gritty so that you can appear like an interesting and idiosyncratic person at your next forced social function. Today's topic is...
Roy Sullivan, the human lightning rod.
Who was Roy Sullivan, the human lightning rod? Well, between 1942 and 1977, Roy Sullivan was struck by lightning not once, not twice, but 7 times. 7 separate incidents, each documented, each time he survived. This is not a metaphor. This isn't a folktale. This is a real guy who lived through something so absurdly implausible that scientists have studied his body, tourists have followed him through the woods, and the Guinness World Records etched his name into history as the man most frequently struck by lightning and survived. Strike 1. 1942, the Mountain Fire Tower. Roy Sullivan was born in Virginia in 1912. There's not much known about him before he took the job as park ranger in 1942, when the lightning first struck him. He was 30 years old, and he'd just started working as a park ranger in the Shenandoah National Park. His job that day was to man a fire lookout tower near Miller's Head, up on the mountain. These towers were tall metal structures elevated from the tree line with a small wooden shack on top. They make locations for great video games and give rangers a panoramic view of the surrounding forest so they could spot wildfires before they grew out of control.
Have you played Firewatch, the game that that's referencing?
I had never. I don't even know that exists.
Yeah, it's a walking simulator. It's a game where you are, you're one of these characters, like it said, you're one of these people that is in one of these towers that is supposed to survey a patch of forest to like look out for fires, basically. And it's a walking simulator, so you just walk around solving puzzles and a story unfolds. There's no actual like combat mechanics or any kind of like gameplay loop outside of just like looking and solving puzzles and stuff like that. But that's neither here nor there. But actually, where was I where this was happening? We were traveling somewhere. Oh, we went to Yosemite, and on the way, I saw one of these towers like that in the middle of this big forest or whatever, and it reminded me of Firewatch. But for some reason, I was just filled with a sense of like existential dread from looking at this tower. I was just imagining like in the middle of the night, just being out in the middle of nowhere, just up in one of these towers, just by yourself in like the fucking darkness of the forest, nothing but you and the animals and the ghosts. And I was just like, man, that would be fucking terrifying. I mean, for a lot of people, it would be like a dream. It would be like, yeah, I would love to do that. My wife is one of those people. She would love to live out in a fucking shack on top of stilts in the middle of the forest or whatever. But I was just like, I would be so scared.
Yeah, that does not sound like something I want to do either.
Yeah.
But the tower Roy was assigned to, it hadn't yet been fitted with a lightning rod. It was just a tall wooden box in the sky, more or less a giant X in the park for lightning to strike. It's probably best to quickly describe why things ever even get hit by lightning. When lightning gets charged, it gets on this steadfast suicide mission to expel its pent-up electric charge. Scientists have figured out that lightning has a short attention span, so it's looking for a path of least resistance, the closest object. So, a building high in the sky to overlook the park without a lightning rod to absorb and disperse the electricity is kind of a given.
This is why you'll never get struck by lightning, because lightning's like looking out. They're just like, all right, I gotta get the quickest path. I gotta get the shortest path to discharge my lightning. No, too far to the ground. All right, no, that guy. That's why you're safe. Like you can
Does that
walk
mean
out.
that's why you're fucked? Is that
Oh
what
yeah,
you're saying?
yeah. I'm fucked. Yeah. If I'm out in a clearing when lightning's looking for a target, like I'm like a giant anthropomorphic pork chop to this lightning.
Is this why in high school they called you Big Lightning?
Yeah. Yeah, that and also the fact that I drank nothing but Dr. Lightning. I never even had water. I just had jugs of Dr. Lightning, and I just carried them around with me on my shoulders like boom boxes. And then every once in a while I would pick it up and I would tip it over like those, you know, those like those big like whiskey jugs or whatever with that little ring, and you put your finger through it and then you tip it
weird,
over.
like no one can fit their hand in
Yeah.
that ring, yet for some reason that they make them all that way.
Yeah, well, you put your finger through it and then you put it on the crook of your arm and then you tip it over and drink it like that. And I did that with off-brand Mountain Dew from Vaughn's.
Yeah, that shit sucks. Can you imagine living your whole life trying to finger bang your beverage into your mouth? That sucks.
Yeah, I mean that was my whole whatever you said, high school years or college years, whatever the fuck you said.
On that particular day, a thunderstorm rolled in over the Blue Ridge Mountains, and Roy thought that maybe the best way to avoid the lightning was holding up in the cabin to avoid the storm outside. A bolt of lightning did what lightning does and was drawn to the cabin set above the ground. Only this watch cabin hadn't been equipped with a lightning rod yet. To quickly explain what a lightning rod is, it's an interceptor. Earlier, when we were talking about lightning wanting the quickest and leanest way to disperse, a lightning rod safely gives the electricity a way to run safely into the ground. Without a lightning rod to absorb and ground the strike, it's said that lightning hit the cabin 7 or 8 times before Roy. Now this is where things get wild. Roy left the cabin as it caught on fire, only to quickly get struck by a bolt of lightning. The lightning didn't kill him, but it did leave a scar on his leg. Okay, so first let's go and talk about what Roy Sullivan looks like. Andrew, what would you describe Roy Sullivan looking like here?
Yeah, Roy Sullivan looks like if they threw Andy Griffith into a vat of radioactive liquid and he just kind of melted a little bit.
Roy Sullivan looks like the guy that the studio casts or brings into the casting process in order to be the ringer for Barney Fife. Like, this is the real Barney Fife, and they have Don Knotts there, and they're like trying to get Don Knotts to take a contract that's less money. So they're like, we got Roy Sullivan, and he's like, well, howdy.
Yeah, they bring him in to scare other aw shucks country cop actors. Like, oh no, I better sign this contract. That guy looks like he's gonna knock this out of the park.
Roy Sullivan looks like the type of guy that eats baked beans cold.
Roy Sullivan looks like if you're driving out in the middle of the country and this guy pulls you over, like, just step on the gas, because whatever ticket or high speed chase you could possibly get is gonna be a lot better than the banjo that's gonna play a little bit later.
Yeah, Roy Sullivan looks like the type of guy who actively campaigned against integration.
Yeah, Roy Sullivan looks like business up front, sundowning in the back. Which actually, I just realized those terms are the same. Like, because what I meant was, you know how there's sundown towns.
I know sundowning.
But there's also sundowning, which is a phenomenon in like nursing homes where somebody gets so old that they start to like go into the early stages of dementia, or they're in the stages of the dementia, and they can be like perfectly lucid 1 minute. And then as the day goes on, as you know, they start to get mentally tired or whatever, in the evenings, they just start going off on like rants.
The official report says that the lightning bolt struck him in the leg and knocked his big toenail off, which is a very specific injury and raises so many questions. Like, how do you only lose a toenail from a lightning bolt? And how do you stay conscious when your leg is on fire? You could probably write that off as a freak accident, a once-in-a-lifetime thing. But for Roy Sullivan, that was just the beginning.
I was so scared of getting hit by lightning when I was a kid. It was like a big concern of mine. As an adult now, I have, I think, a normal concern about it of like, yeah, if there's like a lightning storm, you don't want to go outside. You don't want to be like, you know, just out in a clearing or whatever. But it, you know, I feel like I have a normal, healthy awareness of the safety around not getting hit by lightning. But whenever I was a kid, number one, I lived in a place where it rained a lot more frequently. It doesn't rain in fucking California ever. But in New Mexico, you know, it rained pretty frequently, and there were lightning storms and thunderstorms a lot. And I just remember that being like something I was like really preoccupied with, was like, oh, if it's like raining, if there's lightning, if there's thunder, like I can only walk outside for like a second, and I got to run back in, and I got to like get under cover. Like I remember, you know, in that meme about like when I was a kid, I thought that quicksand was going to be like much more of a problem when I got older. Like that's how I felt about getting struck by lightning.
How did you feel about the movie Powder?
Oh, that I was just gonna say that the movie Powder was like, I think probably like the catalyst for the fear.
Oh, really?
Like I think that's why I was afraid of lightning, was from watching that movie.
I am not going to lie to you. I loved that movie. And that movie is so tarnished by what happened with the director and
I don't remember his name, and fuck his name anyway, but the guy who directed that and Jeepers Creepers of all things.
I think Richard Alvarez, maybe.
Something. Whatever.
Yeah. Richard
Pedorez.
Yeah, Richard fuck you, die in jail is.
Yeah, he's a convicted pedophile, or I guess convicted pederast. Technically, pederast is when you actually do something. That was like, I think he was in jail for a while, and then he was released. And then like after he was released from jail, he made like 2 more Jeepers Creepers movies. Like they just kept letting him make them. But yeah, I don't know if I loved the movie Powder, but I definitely watched it multiple times. It was just one of those movies that just for some reason got a lot of play in my household. There were certain, I think I've talked about this on the show before, but there were certain movies that for some reason just got watched multiple times in my house, where it would just be like a movie that you would throw on like every once in a while periodically. That wasn't like a Disney movie or like one of the obvious ones that you would think a kid would watch over and over again. And the list of them is like all over the place. It was like Starship Troopers. When I was a kid, I just
not Rico's Roughnecks, the actual Verhoeven.
Yeah, Starship Troopers. When Starship Troopers came out on DVD, I really loved that movie and like watched it like over and over again. And then Drive Me Crazy, that movie with Melissa Joan Hart, the Melissa Joan Hart and the guy from Entourage. And then Powder was one of them as well. And American Werewolf in Paris.
Oh no!
The late 90s.
The like 2000s butt rock sequel to American Werewolf in London.
Well, yeah, but that's a funny description of it. But also, like, for some reason in the late 90s, they just did a lot of like delayed, not related sequels to horror movies. Like there was like an American Psycho 2 where it was Mila Kunis playing Patrick Bateman's like sister or something like that, which is like, that's the most egregious one, because like, you know, anybody who knows about American Psycho knows that like the whole point of that movie is that you don't actually fully know if he even has done any of the things that are depicted in the movie, or if it's just like this like layer, you know, multiple layers of interpretations of a like satire of you know, early 90s capitalism and like Wall Street stockbroker culture. And there's a lot of layers of symbolism in the movie, and it's not necessarily literal that he actually did any of those things. And then American Psycho 2 is like, no, he'd killed those people, and also his sister is a killer too. But anyway, yeah, there was like a weird short list. There's a few more that maybe I'm misremembering, or I'm not remembering, but there was just like this weird short list of movies that all were not similar in any way, that for whatever reason I just watched a lot in my house. But Powder was one of them.
Yeah, I loved Powder. I think it's probably like, because it's like a, no one can love a monster like me, Frankenstein-y, like tortured outsider because of his physical differences movie. I'm a sucker for that trope. And man, Sean Patrick Flannery is so great in that movie.
The part that always sticks out to me, and it was like very disturbing to me, and then as thinking back on the movie, it's just the image that pops out to me immediately is the scene in the woods whenever they make him go hunting with them, and then the guy shoots the deer, and then he like makes the guy experience the death of the deer. That scene fucked me up.
Yeah, the movie's so good. Coming next week, The Dark Secret Behind Powder. Just as an excuse for us to rewatch Powder.
Not to be confused with early 2000s pop radio one-hit wonder Daniel Powder.
I don't even remember that.
You had a bad day. You take
Oh, yes, I absolutely.
You sing a sad song, just turn it around. Yeah, he also made somebody experience the death of a deer, but for unrelated reasons.
Strike 2, 1969, the truck strike. There's a 27-year gap between the first and second strikes, and maybe Roy thought he was in the clear. He'd survived the impossible and gone nearly 3 decades without a repeat. But then came July of 1969. Roy was 57 years old, still a park ranger, and driving his forest truck through the park when another storm swept in. Now, normally being in a car or truck, as long as it's got a hard top during a lightning storm, is safer than being under a tree or out in the open. The metal of the vehicle works like a Faraday box, where it absorbs the lightning and the electricity disperses. Some people say that the rubber of the tires also acts to ground the vehicle, but a typical Faraday box doesn't need tires and works as well.
When you said some people say, the only thing I could think of is, some people say it's even harder to find, but there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls.
I have no idea what you're referencing, but I'm going to go with
all
yes.
I see is a tower of something, a real love bursting out of every seam. Days gone by, it's the gentle love, the family.
I cannot believe you know the opening lyrics to Full House.
That's not, it's Family
or
Matters.
Whatever the fuck it is.
Family Matters.
Family Matters, thank you. I can't believe you know that.
I know the opening to Full House too. Although I never really liked Full House. I didn't care for Full House, but I loved Family Matters.
I loved Family Matters, yeah. I loved it, but apparently not enough to know the fucking theme song.
Oh yeah, I mean my favorite one was "Show Me That Smile Again." Don't waste another minute on your crying. We're nowhere near. The best is ready to begin. As long as we got each other. We got the world spinning right in our hands, baby, you and me. We gotta be the luckiest dreamers who never quit dreaming. Growing Pains.
What show is that from? Bacon and Legs?
Growing Pains. No, Bacon and Legs is Bacon and Legs. We're together and it's gonna be forever. Bacon and Legs. We're two birds of a motherfucking feather. You can't have bacon if you don't have legs. So you can't walk to the store to get the bacon anyway. Bacon and legs. We will never be apart. Even when we die, our bodies will be cremated and mixed together in an urn. Bacon and legs. We will never be apart.
Who am I to argue? Cremate me, Daddy.
I It's funny because there's like, we'll get back on the fucking topic because there's like listeners being like, I don't fucking care. Tell the story. But there was like a particular experience. I mean, we talked about this before. We talked about it many times on this show. We also did an entire Patreon exclusive episode just talking about us doing the show and our journey and how it kind of felt like it was just like us against the world during the pandemic, where we were like simultaneously like far apart from each other, not seeing each other in person, but also like closer than we've ever been, and like just fucking every week just like sitting down and just like battling through the shit. But also I had a separate parallel experience, which was throughout those multiple years of the pandemic. It was me just by myself in the wee hours of the morning, just like editing this show and like almost like experiencing it a second time through, where like there are certain episodes of the show where like when I listen to them, I don't think back on the memory of us recording it. I think back on the memory of me sitting editing it at like 3 a.m.
Has that informed the way that you think about me in terms of like your experience? Your experience, obviously, recording the show with me is one thing, but then editing is another. And does that give you almost like a second dry run at our friendship, where you're like in your head being like Monday morning quarterbacking, like, oh, I should have made this joke here, or you know what, he would have gotten annoyed if I did this there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'll say this. There's two versions of you in my life, and one of them never smacks their lips.
One of them never smacks their lips? What does that mean? I do that?
It means all of the meticulous editing out of you smacking your lips that I have had to do for the last 6 years.
What is smacking of lips? What does that mean? Is that like when you talk, you do this every time before you start talking, and then you say what you're gonna say. Every time?
Yeah. Every single
time.
Yes.
Is it that I'm smacking my lips, or that's just the sound my mouth makes when I open it?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, but that's the thing is you do that, like, whereas like, and I know this for a fact from editing the show, when I start talking, I just start talking. I'm sitting here and then I go, yeah, actually you're right about that. Whenever you start talking, you go, yeah, actually you're right about that.
I think that's just the sound my mouth makes when it opens.
No, you make a pronounced sound of your mouth opening before you start talking.
This is gonna fuck me up. You know that, right? You've just ruined my life. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I think I do that. Yeah,
you do it. And there are a lot of things. There are many things that in a normal conversation you kind of don't think twice about. They're almost edited out by your brain. But in a podcast, there's a bunch of little things that you gotta edit out because they are annoying to listen to, or just weird. To have something up in your ear making a sound it hits different than if you're just talking to a person face to face or whatever. And you know, there's a lot of little things. There's like one of the things that I edit out of the show is in the course of us talking, which is it's a challenge because it can't really be edited out when we do it live, when we do it in person on camera. It can't really be edited out, so that's actually kind of a challenge. But normally, before we started doing the video version of the show, when you're talking to somebody, in order for the person to like kind of give you the signal that they're still listening to you, just a normal part of active listening, and you know the transference of communication between two people when they're having a conversation, as somebody's telling you something, you'll periodically go like, yeah. And I edit all of that out. Like whenever somebody says yeah to the other person, I cut it out because it's annoying. It's annoying to sit there and like hear someone talking and then another person go, yeah. Oh yeah. So I just cut out when we say yeah to each other. Lip smacking, or you know, the sound, any kind of sound of like spit in the mouth that gets cut right out, because that's and if I ever accidentally leave it in, when I listen back to it, I'm just like, oh god, I forgot to cut that part out. Because it's not pleasant to hear in your ear when someone goes, yeah, about that.
Yeah, I mean, you might have a point there.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a philosophical concept. I forget what it's called, but it's like I'm just making this up because I don't fucking remember, but it's like the Bill Gina concept, philosophy or something like that. But it's this idea that it's this philosophical concept that everybody that you meet has a carbon copy of you in your head that is who you are to them, and it's different than who you are to yourself. And the version of yourself that's in your head is not the same person as the version of yourself that is in another person's head. And that's the version of you that's in my head never smacks their lips.
Okay, 1, go fuck yourself. And 2, I mean, look, it is what it is, baby. It is what it is.
What were we talking about to get to that place?
I don't know. Let's just go back to the script. I don't know.
Also, in actual on topic discussion, so you're putzing around life, right? You're going about your day. Shit's going the way it's going. You meet the people you meet. You fall in love. You have heartbreak. You have opportunities. You have successes. You have failures. Your life is a cornucopia of human trauma and human triumph in a bittersweet gumbo. And then one day, you suffer the unfortunate tragedy of getting struck by lightning. Very unlikely, once in a lifetime thing. You get struck by lightning. It burns you. It leaves you scars, but ultimately you survive and you make it out. And you're like, wow, I survived that. I got struck by lightning, a once in a lifetime event, and I survived, and I'm good, and I'm okay. And then a couple years later, you get struck by lightning again. What are you thinking about that?
I'm thinking about I'm never leaving the goddamn house. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm like, this is done. I'm getting a PSN subscription, Xbox, whatever. I'm never leaving the goddamn house. Steam, give me your highest premium membership. I am not going anywhere ever.
I'm about to get all the achievement trophies, baby.
Yeah. Fucking call me Hideo Kojima, because I ain't leaving this house-ema. Like, not happening, dude.
Where's Death Stranding 3, bitch? Because I got some time on my hands.
Death Stranding, more like couch sitting, am I right?
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I'm already always on the precipice of never leaving the house again as it stands. My wife a couple of weeks ago, she fell rollerblading and broke her tailbone. You know this, but I'm just saying this for the sake of the listener. And we were talking about this actually, I think yesterday. Or maybe it was a couple days ago, but whatever. And I was like, half joking, but I was like, maybe, and it's been a significant inconvenience for her. She fell, and it was like, I think it was like a month ago at this point, or 3 weeks, and she's still in pain. She's had issues sitting, and kind of throughout the day, she kind of goes through cycles of like, oh, I'm feeling a little better now, and no, I'm not feeling better. I gotta lay down. And it's been a long extended inconvenience on her life. And I was kind of half joking, being like, maybe, you'll think about being a little bit more careful about things, because, that one little mistake that you made, and, it kind of ruined your life for the next couple of months. Like maybe you'll think a little harder about your, what you're doing. And then she said something like, you did the exact same thing, because, famously, to the junior sleuths, I slipped on a mountain in Switzerland and broke my ankle, and I was out of commission for a good 9 months. I couldn't walk for probably 4 or 5 months, and then it was like the slow recovery back to walking, and not being able to walk fully and having to wear a boot, and altogether it took like 9 months for the whole thing to just kind of completely heal. And I was like, yeah, but the difference between me and you is that when that happened, I was like, I'm never going hiking again. Whereas you are just waiting to be healed so that you can go back to rollerblading.
Yeah, I don't foresee myself struggling with going outside being a park ranger, or going outside with the endeavor of starring in the new reboot of whatever that rollerblading Disney Channel movie was from the 90s.
You're not going rollerball?
Oh, there's that too. But see, for me, rollerball is not the John McTiernan one. It's the original.
I know,
one
that's
with
what I'm
James
saying.
Caan.
Is like that the rollerball, the John McTiernan was a remake, so it's like the new remake, the third or the second remake of Rollerball, starring Davy Bakes.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. It's in my deal though that I will only do it if you direct.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I definitely want to ruin my career. Or it's what was that? What was that movie? Was it Kick It Up, or what the fuck was that movie called? The
one with the Drew Barrymore.
The
produced.
Drew Barrymore roller derby movie.
Yeah. Who the fuck knows?
But yeah, it's that. It's a remake of that, where you're playing Elliot Page's character.
I mean, to be honest, Elliot Page wouldn't make a half bad me in a movie. What up,
True.
Elliot? You want to play Dave Baker in a Mary Tyler Moore Hawk movie? Just saying.
Yeah. So there's 2 Dave Bakers in Mary Tyler Moore Hawk, right? So we make the Mary Tyler Moore Hawk movie. Elliot Page, Rachel Maddow.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. I would not be upset if that happened.
An alt to that is, Mary Tyler Moore Hawk. We cast Elliot Page and Rivers Cuomo with his shins removed.
It's like that movie with Gary Oldman where he plays a little person where he's just on his knees the whole time. It's just wildly problematic Rivers Cuomo doing that.
Yeah, Tiptoes, the movie with Matthew McConaughey, where he comes from a family of little people, and he's married to also blanking on her name for some bizarre reason, girl from Underworld.
Kate Beckinsale?
Kate Beckinsale, and they're thinking about having a baby, but then he has to tell her a secret, or he has to tell her something before they make that decision, and he introduces her to his family, which are all little people, and he just is the only person in his family that didn't get this dominant gene or whatever. And Gary Oldman plays his uncle or something, and he's like literally standing on his knees with shoes on his knees to play a little person.
It's so insane that that's a real movie.
And not only is it a real movie, but it's not like a problematic, maybe we should have rethought this screwball comedy. It is like an Oscar bait drama.
Yeah.
Where they're presenting Gary Oldman as an Oscar contender for his riveting role as a little person.
It's so crazy that that's a movie that got made, let alone in that context. This time, the lightning hit a nearby tree and bounced, traveled through the air and into the open window of the truck. It lit up the inside like a flashbang and struck Roy in the head. Again, the same way a ragtop Jeep or convertible wouldn't work. You need to have the windows up as well. The bolt of lightning knocked him out cold. When he came to, the entire left side of his body was burnt. His eyebrows were gone. His eyelashes were gone. His hair singed off like flash paper. But Roy didn't panic. He staggered out of the truck, assumingly slapped out the embers on his shirt, and then drove himself to the hospital because he didn't have another option. And from that moment on, Roy Sullivan started carrying around a bucket of water with him everywhere he went. He knew he couldn't stop the lightning, but he could put out the fire on his head. This is not a joke. That's not to say he had a Camelback hiking bag full of water, but he did keep the container in his truck just like you would if you had a radiator prone to overheating. It's such a fascinating character quirk because I can totally understand why you would do that, as just like when you're in those surreal extreme scenarios, you don't, not that your brain isn't working correctly, but like also your brain isn't working correctly. Like you just develop trauma responses and you're like, oh, the thing that was the most extreme about this wasn't getting hit by lightning. Maybe I should, instead of going into the forest, I'm going to stay home. It's, oh, I have to go into the forest, so I'm going to bring water with me so that I can douse the flames. It's such a human reaction to that, you know?
Yeah, well, it's such a human reaction, but it's also like, it's one of those things that you would never really think of, like, unless it happened to you, which,
of course,
like, that's nobody. That's just this one guy. But you would never think about that unless it happened to you, because, you know, what you're thinking about when you read a story about somebody getting hit by lightning multiple times is just the insane nature of it, how crazy it is that would happen. You're thinking about like, oh, you know, you're thinking about like him, whether he would die or not. You would think like you're thinking about like, oh, he survived this. He was struck by lightning and didn't fucking die. You're thinking about, you know, things like getting, it shocking the electrical system in your body and stopping your heart or something like that. But then the fascinating thing is that when something like this, which is just straight up a once in a lifetime thing that has never happened to another human being, as far as we know in the history of the world, you have to think about the little logistical things, which is one of them is like, yeah, it's great that I survived these lightning strikes. But when I get struck by lightning, it burns my hair off. I want my hair. I don't have much of it left. I look like Barney Fife got run through a meat grinder. I got a little bit of a donut left on the outside of my hair. I don't want to lose that every time I get struck by lightning, which is apparently going to keep happening. So just for logistical reasons, I gotta carry around this little bucket of water to douse my hair out when I inevitably get struck by lightning again.
It's like a Saturday Night Live character. It's not a real human.
Yeah, it is a character in a sketch that has a game to it, which is like, I'm Roy Sullivan, the guy who constantly gets struck by lightning, and so I have to carry around a bucket of water. And what's the next little quirk of this game? What's the next elevation or escalation of the game? That's what it is. It's like fucking Chris Farley, his living in a van down by the river character, and like they did multiple versions of that sketch. And what are the trademarks of that sketch? He says he tells a vaguely motivational speech that ends with him saying, "At least you're not a guy living in a van down by the river." That's one of them. The other one is that he throws himself into a breakaway table. That's another quirk of that sketch that he does every single time they do the sketch. Another quirk is that David Spade breaks character and laughs while he's sitting there pretending to be the kid that he's giving them the speech to. That's this. One of the recurring quirks of this character on SNL is that he carries around a bucket of water to put out his hair whenever he gets struck by lightning.
Oh my God, I loved Bucket Boy, starring Adam Sandler in 1991.
Yeah, they made the full SNL movie version of it, Bucket Boy.
I loved Bucket Boy. I couldn't get enough of Bucket Boy, you know?
Yeah, it is bizarre. It is so bizarre. But like you said, it's fascinating that it when it actually happens, it gets niched down to the human minutia of it. You get struck by lightning once, you're way up in the emotional highs of having survived. You're up in that range of the emotional spectrum. You get struck by lightning twice, you immediately get niched down into I don't want to lose my hair the next time that I'm struck by lightning. I got to carry a bucket of water.
Yeah, and it's funny that it's not after the third time. It's the second time. He's like, oh, this is going to happen again. It's not an if, it's a when. I will be struck by lightning again.
Yeah. And then you got to start thinking about the little things.
Yeah. So there's 26 years between the last one and the second one. And now, just 1 year later, Strike 3, 1970, The Front Yard Burn.
By the way, if you, which one do you think would make you more certain that you were going to get hit by lightning a third time? Would it be if the second strike came 27 years later or like a year later? Or like
100% a year later. If it was a year later, I'd be like, I would go crazy. I'd be like, I'm living in a padded room. I can't leave the house. I'm fucking done.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. But the reason why I ask is because I almost feel like you would also have a similar reaction if it was 27 years later. Because imagine you get struck by lightning and then 27 years later, it happens again. Like, to me, that almost feels like more of a certainty that it's going to keep happening. Like it's like fate.
Yeah,
or something.
once every 27 years.
Yeah. It's now a prophecy.
Strike 3, 1970, The Front Yard Burn. 1 year later, Roy was at his home in Dooms, Virginia. The actual name of the town is Dooms. So when lightning found him again, he was just standing in his front yard when the bolt hit a nearby power transformer, arced through the air, and struck him square in the shoulder. It burned his skin, fried his shirt, and again, set his hair on fire.
I mean, we can see Roy. We can look at Roy Sullivan as a victim of circumstance, a victim of nature, a victim of a cosmic fate. But really, you go to a place called Dooms.
I know, dude. I was thinking that same thing. Like, you're asking for it.
At that point, it's kind of on you.
Yeah. Like, I'm moving to Lightning Strike, New Mexico.
Yeah.
What happens there? I don't know.
Yeah, like if I move to a town called Bone Crack, Idaho, like I'm just kind of asking for it. At that point, it's on me.
Yeah. Oh, I got a new job. Where at? Trip and fall and break my neck, Minnesota.
Yeah, like whatever happens, it's fool me once, fool me twice, never get fooled again. You know.
Fool me once, get struck by lightning. Fool me twice, get struck by lightning and carry a bucket of water. Fool me 3 times, move into an insane asylum, because that is where I'm going to spend the rest of my days.
I'm moving to Blowjob, Minnesota after that.
Yeah, I'm moving to stable and committed, mentally sane partner who shares common passions, Vermont.
I mean, that's this Zoom recording right now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like,
is that where you live?
Like
Yeah.
my own private Idaho or New York state of mind.
Even though it sounds like a setup to a dark comedy, Roy had access to his trusty bucket of water and immediately put out the flames. At this point, it's hard to imagine how impacted you are by the strikes. There's this scene in the new Final Destination movie, Bloodlines, where a survivor of death has made a death-proof prison as their own home. If you had been stalked by lightning, you'd be hard-pressed to think it wasn't a lightning god's grudge against you at some point. But of course, hiding didn't help.
Actually, that's funny. I didn't think about that initially, but now that it's been said, that actually is kind of what it reminds me of. Because I was trying to think of like what that reminds me of. The idea that Roy Sullivan would start carrying around a bucket of water as like a logistical boon for this weird, unique problem that he has. And I was like, what kind of trope does that remind me of? And I was kind of thinking like maybe it's like anime, where in a lot of anime there are like magic systems where people fight using these different types of magic systems, and then they have to come up with like logistical solutions for how to execute certain moves. And a lot of the episode is about people standing and watching and like kind of like commentating on the strategy that's happening during the battle or whatever. And it's like, oh, he's focusing his hormone through that Coke bottle and then like using it to blow the cap off of it that shoots out and breaks the guy's finger so that he can't shoot his gun or whatever. But actually what it reminds me of is the first Final Destination movie, because after the first one, they, similar to Saw, they just became like sort of gimmicky torture porn movies where it's like, oh, what elaborate ways are people going to get killed in this one? And you're just kind of watching for all the elaborate kills. But in the first Final Destination movie, it wasn't that. And the movie was kind of about Devon Sawa trying to outsmart death by coming up with all these. He was like, a lot of the movie was thinking through the logistics of how you would avoid any kind of danger. So like at one point he ends up in the movie holed up in a cabin, and he's like taken out all of the sharp objects and anything that could possibly cause him to die in the cabin. And then he is like exclusively eating, I think it's like Vienna sausages from cans, because he says that he doesn't want to have forks or knives in the house in case that could somehow cause him to die or whatever. And then like at one point he's like sitting in the cabin, and then he like realizes that there's like a fishing pole in the thing, and he's like, oh, you almost got me. And he takes the fishing pole and like puts it outside, because he's just like, I could have gotten strangled on that or whatever. But that's what this reminds me of, is that. And
it's so sad because it's one guy, like a real dude.
Yeah, it's a real guy. And he's facing the most unrelatable problem that nobody can help him with that's ever existed. There's never been a less relatable problem.
Do you think it would have happened to him if he had like moved to the city? If he was just like, I need to go where there's no chance of being struck by lightning. Like, is this his own fault at a certain point?
I mean, yeah, the joking aside of what we were saying before, like, I'm sure there is some solution to this problem. You know, kind of like how back in the day, whenever people would get sick with certain things like tuberculosis, they would like move to different areas that had like certain climates that were like better suited for that type of condition. That's not really something that we do anymore because of medical technologies and medications that aid in certain things. But back in the day, back in the 1700s, 1800s, people would be like, oh, I have a disease now where I have to go live in the mountains because that's just, otherwise I'm going to die. And I think that he probably had solutions like that for this. I think there was probably parts of the country he could have moved to where to guarantee that he wouldn't get struck by lightning. But, you know, he was a good old boy, and he had to go live in Dooms, Virginia. Like, he had a certain way of life. He had a certain type of place that he liked to live. And it just so happened that it made him a fucking target for lightning. Like, bro.
Public lightning enemy number one.
Bro, you are a human lightning rod. There's something about your physiology that causes lightning to come after you, like Tony Todd in Final Destination. You gotta go live in a brownstone apartment in New York City or something. I don't know. You gotta figure this shit out. But it also begs the question of like yeah. But also, like, that being said, like, you can't actually get to the heart of that question before figuring out why is this happening to him? Like, why is he getting struck by lightning multiple times? Why is that happening to this guy?
I mean, do you think it has to do with something crazy? Like, usually complex problems like this have really simple answers. So, like, what are the odds that this has something to do with his diet? You know what I mean? Like, there's just something about the way that the structure of his body, of like, he's a certain amount of, you know, centimeters tall, and he eats a high sodium diet or something, and like that, for some reason, it just makes him like exponentially more conducive or conductive. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
He's sitting there and he's just like, he's talking to like a journalist who's like interviewing him for a local interest feature story about the human lightning rod. And he's just like, yeah, you know, it's the damnedest thing. I just don't get it. I've been struck like 5 times by lightning. It just happens out of nowhere, just minding my own business. And then sooner or later, it's coming for me. No idea why. Just only God knows. Anyway, I'm going to eat my daily block of titanium and go to bed. So if you want to go ahead and leave the house, I'd greatly appreciate it. Like something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, you know, like the scene in X-Men 2 where the security guard gets, you know, had his iron injected into his bloodstream by Mystique, and then goes to Magneto's invisible prison or, you know, plastic prison. He's like pulling the metal out of his bloodstream. Like,
yeah, like
it's got to be something like that, right?
That's kind of why I was saying it kind of reminded me of anime, because it reminds me of that thing where there's certain conditions or aspects of people's powers or their physical makeup that causes certain reactions or certain advantages other characters have over them. Like famously, the fact that Wolverine is an invulnerable person with healing factor, and nobody can kill him. But then Magneto is his foil because he controls metal, so he can rip his adamantium bones out of his body. So he's the one guy who can make Wolverine his bitch because he just happens to have the power to control his power in that way. It reminds me of that, where it's what is the thing? What is the thing that's causing lightning to strike you every time you fucking go outside and it's raining or whatever? You have a higher concentration of iron in your blood. You're the opposite of anemic. What is it?
He's super anemic. Yeah,
he's super anemic.
Do you think when it started raining, in the Southwest, we would have cicadas that would start kind of chirping, and there would be that smell because the plants kind of secrete whatever, but right before it rains. Do you think when he encountered stuff like that in the forest, he had a fight or flight response?
Oh yeah, that's it. That was his version of the little cup of water on the dashboard that starts rippling.
Yeah, totally. he hears a thunderclap in the far distance, and he just shits himself.
Yeah, he's instead of what's gonna happen to the goat, he's what's gonna happen to my hair? Did you have when you were growing up, did you have those locusts that during the summer or whatever it was, they would shed their exoskeleton, so at a certain time of the year, just the entire fucking outside was just blanketed in these shriveled husks, locust husks? They
weren't that common, but yeah, they would come around. Yeah.
Yeah, we had those in New Mexico, and the reason why I bring that up is whenever I was a kid, the first time that I ever noticed that or whatever, my grandpa told me that there was a new type of vampire bat that would go around, and it would just latch on to animals and suck out their insides and leave just the husk behind.
Hell yeah, dude.
And that also made me terrified to go outside, because when I was a kid, my grandpa used to just actively fuck with me. He would just tell me elaborate lies to mess with my head, and I might have told this story. I might have told some of these stories on the show before, but one time when I was a kid, we moved to for a while we moved to California, and we ended up moving back to New Mexico, but we moved to California. And whenever I was gonna move, I think at school or whatever, my teachers were oh yeah, I think one of my teachers said that in California, orange trees grow overnight, and he was exaggerating, but he was just yeah, orange trees grow really fast in California. But I took it literally, and so I think I went home and I was telling my parents yeah, in California, orange trees grow overnight, and I was really excited because I wanted to plant an orange tree and watch it grow. And so when we moved to California, the first night we were there, I planted an orange seed in the ground in the backyard of our house, and then my grandpa went out in the night and he stuck a stick into the ground and then put an orange on top of it. And I came out the next morning and I was oh, it happened. But he did things like that to he just actively was he was fucking velocity gnoming me all the time. He was constantly just tricking me into thinking things were happening. But yeah, I saw those locust things, and he told me that there was a vampire bat that would like go around and it would latch on to animals and suck out their insides. And so I thought that a vampire bat was going to suck out my insides, and I was scared to go outside for a while.
Well, on that note, Papa Pricey, you got anything?
If you're going to lead the episodes, you got to hone your segue craft.
All right, set me up again.
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to nitpick.
No, I got it. Set me up again.
I'm not trying to Monday morning quarterback you, but like...
Yeah, I got it. Set me up again.
Yeah, whenever I was a kid, I was scared of going outside because I thought that a vampire bat was going to latch onto me and suck out all of my insides.
Well, speaking of elaborate ruses that result in people being depleted of their resources, Andrew, do you got anything you want to promote?
See, just as a note, See, so what I would have said is, speaking of
it doesn't matter what you would have said because I'm leading this bitch, so it doesn't matter what you would have said. Do you want me to, Andrew? Would you like me to be your meat puppet? I can say your little joke if you want me to.
It's a note. Some people lead by instruction. Some people lead by example. I'm just showing you what I would have said. Hopefully as a teachable moment.
Right, yeah. Oh, you're the one teaching me now. Oh, interesting. Okay.
I mean, yeah, sure. I got some stuff to plug. I mean, whatever. Get my comic, Deadbolt AI Private Eye. It's at dapricewrites.com. It is a comic about a robot that is a detective in the future solving crimes and dealing with emotional ennui. But here's the thing. Fuck that. Let's talk about what we're really here to talk about.
Yeah.
Deep Cuts Patreon. bit.ly/Deep Cuts Patreon or patreon.com/Mystery Treehouse. You can back the boys. You can pump the take that back.
Pump the page.
You can back the boys. You can pump the page. You can get the goods.
A note. If you could just really hit the page part, we don't want to not hit the page because that's where we want to get people to go to the page, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Back the boys, pump the page, get the goods.
The best part of that is when you said pump the page,
it like edited
Zoom, it edited out the P, so it was the age.
Yeah, the Zoom filter for like loud noises is a little too aggressive. But you can support the show in 3 exciting ways. We've got 3 tiers. For $5 a month, you get the ad-free version of the show, as well as our YouTube channel, Mystery Treehouse, where we do long-form video essays every week. And you also get a shout-out in the show. And you'll be a Junior Sleuth. For $6 a month, you're a Junior Sleuth Plus. You get all of that, plus you get access to our first tier of bonus content, Shallow Cuts, so additional content from Papa Pricey and Davey Bakes, the Mystery Treehouse boys, as well as a few other cool perks. And then for $10 a month, you become a Senior Sleuth. You get that, plus you get access to our second tier of bonus content, Deeper Cuts, and you also get access to our monthly live stream, where we live stream 1 episode of the show. You can watch how the sausage gets made, and you can also comment, and we will react and respond to the comments and interact with you, and that will be in the show, as well as a handful of other exciting perks. You can do that right now by going to bit.ly/Deep Cuts Patreon or patreon.com/Mystery Treehouse, whichever way you want to think about it. If you want to think about it as a Deep Cuts Patreon, or if you want to think about it as just generally backing the things that we do as creators, in including our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@Mystery Treehouse, where, as I said before, we do long form explainer videos. We have a couple videos out now. We've been running the channel for a couple weeks. We have an hour-long episode about Andrew WK that's kind of a sequel to the Andrew WK episode of Deep Cuts. It's half of it is sort of like a remake of the episode, and then the other half of it is like everything that happened after the episode came out. So if you listen to the episode before and you like it, It's basically a sequel. There's more information. There's more stuff. It goes into how we got involved in the story and how we personally interacted with Andrew WK ourselves after he listened to our episode. You can check that out. We also have an episode about the history of Boston and the fact that while it seemed like it was just kind of like a pretty straightforward stadium rock band in the 1970s, it was actually one specific guy named Tom Scholes who was like obsessed with building his own recording studio and making all of his gear from scratch. And he wrote and recorded all of the albums by himself. And then there was just a singer and a drummer that overdubbed, but mostly it was just this one dude who was like an MIT engineer who one day just decided he wanted to make music. And then he just like mathematically created Boston. And then we just came out with a new video, new drop, came out just a couple days ago. Do you want to tell them about that video, Dave?
The video is called How the Wachowskis Failed and Changed Hollywood Forever. It's a video all about how the single guiding principle through all of the feature films and creative projects that the Wachowski sisters have made is the fact that they're always swinging for the fences and that they're not afraid of failure, and that sometimes it kind of seems like they're actively trying to fail. And it's a deep dive, hour-long video going through every creative project they ever worked on, including their comics and ancillary materials. I'm really excited about it. I think it is a super fun video. Andrew did a great job, and Tennyson, our editor. They both did a great job editing the video. The video is written by me and Andrew and Adam, who's one of our stalwart writers. Adam Smith. I'm super excited about it. There's some really fun, weird deconstructions of their career, weird interviews that not a lot of people have seen with them, and a stalwart defense of the fact that fucking Speed Racer is the greatest movie of all time, as both Andrew and I have repeatedly said on the show.
Yeah, this video came about because of multiple extended conversations that we've had over the years where we both kind of mutually realized at some point in our friendship that we both just loved the movie Speed Racer. And prior to now, it's almost kind of become like a little bit more of a mainstream idea that Speed Racer was actually fucking great. But at the time, before I started talking to you about it, I never met a person that liked that movie. Most people I met never saw the movie. And anybody who actually ever saw the movie, it was always just like a punchline of like, oh yeah, that horrible movie that the Wachowskis made after the Matrix movies that was just like a total letdown or whatever. And I was always like an apologist or like defending that movie and being like, no, like it's actually fucking amazing. And then we had many conversations about that, about how great that movie actually is. And then we started talking about the idea of the fact that every movie that the Wachowskis makes, even if it kind of fails overall as a film, like as a good movie, quote unquote, there's always some idea in it that is interrogated, whether it be a philosophical idea or a filmmaking language idea that elevates the movie into something beyond just like, oh, this movie wasn't really good or wasn't particularly good. It elevates it into something that is very interesting, and in the sum of all of its parts, they have contributed a lot of revolutionary thinking to the filmmaking medium using a bunch of kind of not great movies that they've made.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because they've made some masterpieces, and then every other thing they've made is a failed masterpiece, which is fascinating. Because most artists, I mean, maybe that's not true. They also did, V for Vendetta, and they wrote some other things like Assassins and whatnot, which are like, they're just trying to get on base with those projects. But like the projects they direct are so clearly like, I am going to make a definitive statement. It is going to be the greatest thing ever made. And then it's about a werewolf guy rollerblading through the sky. And you're like, wow, really? You thought this was going to be a magnum opus. Okay, fascinating. And I know I sound like I'm being sarcastic, and I kind of am, but like I'm more deeply admiring of that level of like primal innocence that you can maintain as a creative person working in a commercial medium, to have the cynicism not beaten into you is just, it's super impressive. And anyway, it's an hour-long video of me talking about all this stuff.
Yeah. So do some listener shout-outs real quick. But I do want to say before we get into them, in launch, here's the thing. I'm not a perfect person. I never meant to do bad things to you. For the most part, this Patreon launch has been very successful and all is working very well. And I think we pretty well designed the Patreon and the tiers to have a lot of cool stuff that's, enticing to listeners. And we got a good response because of it. One issue with the Patreon that I just didn't think this part through is, as part of the Senior Sleuth tier, we offered this idea of custom messages for your shout out. So like you can tell us to say whatever you want and we will say it on the show. In theory, on the surface, that sounds like a really great perk. And that's why we offered it. However, in actual execution, I've realized that there are certain parts of it that don't work very well. And they're just things that I just didn't fully think through, and they just didn't really present themselves until it got to the time of actually making it. One issue with it is, if you give a custom message, are we going to read that every episode? That I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I didn't really fully think the idea through that like we would be just reading the same message every single episode.
We're just gonna read them in monthly installments, and we'll cycle through repeatedly, and everybody will get their message read. But
but the other issue with it is, which once again I didn't really think it through, but it makes sense, is that a lot of people just don't actually want to do a custom message. Like for whatever reason, they're just like, I don't want to think of something, or like, I don't have anything to say or whatever. So I would say probably like less than half of the Senior Sleuth backers actually even wanted to do a custom message. So I just wanted to say that like this part of the Patreon perks for the Senior Sleuth tier, it's kind of a little bit of a mess that I didn't fully think through when we offered it. So we're figuring it out. We're gonna figure it out. I'm not saying we're not gonna do this, because I don't want to take away the value that we have promised you. Like we're gonna do it. But I just wanted to put it up front that like this part of it is a little bit messy, and it's not exactly. I didn't fully think it through. I didn't fully think the logistics of it through. So it's going to be a little bit of a pardon our dust situation here, where we kind of got to figure out what this part of the Senior Sleuth tier even actually is. But we're going to give you the value that we promised you. I just wanted to say that. So that being said, is that how we want to do it? Do we just want to read one of the custom messages for this episode and then do a different custom message on the next episode? Is that how we want to do this?
Let's do two, maybe three, okay. Whatever, how long it takes. Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we'll do for now. We'll figure out a good system for this, but for now, that's what we're going to do. So that being said, another preface, another little note. When we announced this, and in the few times we've talked about it since, we said we will say anything.
Yeah. No, I don't give a fuck.
Within the realms of good taste, we will say anything. And when we said that, what we meant was, we're not going to say rate. Like you're not going to infinite money glitch the situation and get us to say the N-word or something like that. Like that's not happening. That you're not going to trap us in a logic puzzle that ends with us having to say the N-word. That's what I meant within the realm of good taste. What I did not mean is like, oh, we won't say anything if it's just kind of weird or whatever. Like we promise we will say anything, and we're going to say anything aside from weird racist things or whatever.
We will inhabit Max Bemis and truly say anything.
Yes, indeed. We are real boys. Famous last words, because We're just gonna say it. We're
Here we go.
We're saying
Let's do it. Do you want to alternate, or do you want to say it? And
yes,
then have me react?
We will alternate because I want you to say the second one, not because I don't want to say it, but because I want you to say it.
Okay. Yeah,
So
sounds good.
Will
you put it in the chat?
Yeah, we'll do 2, and like I said, we said we would say anything.
Yeah, we're gonna say anything. Let's say it. Let's say it. We're gonna say it right now.
The first one is from our boy Andrew C. Rempt. He's a senior sleuth, and so his custom message is STTNGs is our favorite Star Trek The Next Generation rewatch podcast. Listen at tngs.com, please. That is TNGEEZ.com.
I've been on the show before. I'm a big Star Trek fan. I enjoy Andrew's work and his co-host Dave. There's frequently jokes about how this Andrew and Dave are the mirror universe version of...
It's a podcast where they're Andrew and Dave.
Yeah, they're Andrew and Dave. They rewatch episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation and talk about it, discuss it, clown on it. I enjoy it. I think it's a really good podcast. In fact, my water bottle is an STTNG's oh no, not another Star Trek podcast water bottle. This isn't even a sticker. This is just on the water bottle, but these are stickers. This is my friend Josh's dog Pretzel. Anyway, yes, I'm a big fan of STTNG's. Both my comics collaborator Nicole Gu and I are on an episode that has to do with the original series. I kind of don't remember which episode it was. Maybe Sitting on the Edge of Forever or something. I'm not sure.
So thank you so much, Andrew, for backing the show. And everybody check out STTNGs if you're interested in Star Trek The Next Generation, rewatch podcasts, or podcast featuring 2 hosts named Andrew and Dave.
Did you put that shit in
now?
there?
Here's the second custom message of the day.
Decky P writes, I queef every time you say kayfabe. I sit with my legs open, waiting in suspense. I think it's hilarious that you don't know how to spell kayfabe and that you wrote the letter K and then fabe. That's amazing, Decky P. I love it. I also queef every time Andrew says kayfabe, but I spell it Kayfabe. So maybe we have different medical issues that we should have investigated. But regardless, thank you, Decky P, for backing the Patreon. I queef every time you say kayfabe. I sit with my legs open, waiting in suspense. Big preach.
I screenshotted that whenever I got the custom message in the DMs of Patreon, and I sent it to Dave, and I just said, Jesus fucking Christ. We're doing this. We're doing it. We're saying whatever you want us to say. We're doing it, baby. Just keep in mind, I'm not even saying that's the line, but the fog has been lifted a little bit further, and you can see a little bit into the horizon of how far we will go. How much further we will go.
Who can say?
Who can say?
You know what? You can back the Patreon, and then you can test those limits.
Indeed. And here are the rest of our Patreon subscribers. We got let me funnel it to paid members. I'm not gonna shout you out if you're not paying. If you're a free member, we're not gonna say your name. God damn. What do you think this is? We got Sleep Drifter. Thank you so much. We got the Jonathan Agar. I think that's
we love Jonathan Agar. Thank you.
It's a one run-on name, so I don't know how exactly that is split up. But either way, thank you. We got the Baked Beans Garage. We got Liz Banks.
Oh my God, Elizabeth Banks?
Yeah, Elizabeth Banks backs the show.
Damn.
Thank you, actress Elizabeth Banks and the Baked Beans Garage. We got Ryan Logan.
Ooh, Ryan. Thank you, my boy, my big boy, Ry Logie Logue.
Thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you, Justin Wood.
Ooh, Justin Wood. Big fan.
We got Chic Vulgaris.
The Sheik, the one and only.
David Cartwright.
Ooh, David Cartwright. Big fan.
Emily Black.
Emily Black, don't know you, but want to know you.
Thank you so much. Eddie.
Eddie, oh my God.
We got Phi Jinda. I once again don't fully know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they did not correct me. They did not message me or comment on anything on the Patreon and say that I said it wrong. So for the time being, that's what we're going to say, and that's what we're going to think is the correct way of pronouncing that. Matthew Polito.
Matthew Polito, thanks, dude. Really appreciate it.
Shannon Talty, who did comment and say that I said their name wrong in the last episode. I believe that I said Shannon Talty. I'm assuming that's how I said it. I didn't listen back, but based on the spelling and how I think I would say that, I'm pretty sure I said Shannon Talty, but it's Shannon Talty. Asbestos.
Oh my God, so much. Asbestos. Not a big fan, but appreciate the backing of the Patreon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Asbestos, for all you've done throughout history. Brad Manier.
Brad, oh man, really appreciate it.
Chesty Red Nuts.
Chesty Red Nuts? I feel like you are sneaking one past us and getting us to say Chesty Red Nuts.
Yeah, I don't actually, if I were to be honest, I don't think that's their real name.
Gonna go out on a limb. Kind of thinking that's not their real name.
Yeah. The Great Sea Moose.
Sea Moose.
The Batman Who Naps, a.k.a. Seth Bussing.
We love Seth. Thank you, Seth. Big preach.
We got Michael B. Miller.
Oh my God, Mike Miller. That sounds like somebody who might be an issue. That might be a little problem, that one.
Does it make up for murdering you?
I don't know.
If somebody pays you $10 a month. Is that...
it's funny. I saw Mike Miller at a convention maybe 3 weeks ago. He walked up and I said, well, if it isn't the murderer, Mike Miller, and he looked at me and said, well, come on now. That's all been settled.
I mean, he's right.
And you know what? Touche.
He's right. If you're not looped into the ongoing Mystery Treehouse narrative lore, we did actually kill the celestial being that was possessing Mike Miller and causing him to have murdered me, and now he's just back to being the regular old Mike Miller. Doesn't change the fact that when I close my eyes, I see his face. We got Psygeek.
Psygeek. Oh, man.
We got Caden Parker. Thanks so much, Caden. We got Mitchell Kilmer.
Oh, my God. Mitch kills? Mitchie kills?
Mitchie kills it at being a loyal fan. Jack Stratton.
Jack Stratton. Good name. Strong name.
We got Jason Hunter.
Jason Hunter. Another strong name.
We got Big Daddy Lindquist.
Oh my God.
Michael
BD
L.
Linz?
Michael Lindquist. Longtime listener. First month backer. We got Your Vanilla Bee.
Your Vanilla Bee. Love it. Thank you.
We got Robert Williams.
Ooh, Robbie Wills.
Yeah, Robbie Will. Yeah, last time I said that his name was Bob Wills, but this time I'm going to say actually his name is Robbie Williams.
If I knew any music by Robbie Williams, I would make a Robbie Williams joke right now.
We got stars up there in our face. And it's not too late. Millennium.
You could have said any of those words in any order, and I would not know the difference.
That was the one song that was a crossover hit in the United States. The video for Millennium played on MTV a lot in the late 90s. That was the only crossover hit he ever had here. Ethan Barrell.
Thank you, Ethan.
Amber Tyndall.
Oh, Amber Tyndall. Thank you very much.
And last but not least, for some reason this name was at the front of the list last episode, but now it's at the bottom of the list. I don't know why, but Ace.
Ace the Bat Hound. We really appreciate you backing the Patreon.
Oh, I see. The whole list is in reverse alphabetical order now. I somehow accidentally flipped the order. So we just did that from Z to A.
Well, next time we'll do from A to Z.
Let's do it. All right. Thank you so much, all the backers. We will continue making quality content to justify your investment in us. The shareholders will be happy, and the line will go up.
Line go up.
And now, back to the show.
Strike 4, 1972, the lightning invasion. By now, Roy Sullivan had already been hit by lightning 3 times, and it's here that it starts to get stranger, because even inside, Roy Sullivan was getting struck by lightning. In April of 1972, he was inside when lightning barreled through an open door and hit him. It's said that his hair, again, caught on fire, which maybe at this point, get a mohawk. But after it caught on fire, Sullivan attempted to put it out under the sink, but only his head wouldn't fit. It's then he is said to have wrapped his head in damp paper towels to put out the fire. However, that seems far-fetched, but so does being struck by lightning 4 times. Even more so, 5 times, with 2 more on the cloud-riddled horizon. And this next time is something else. Strike 5. 1973, the wildest one yet. This one might be the most dramatic of all. It was August 1973, and Sullivan was patrolling the park when a storm cloud started to roll in. He attempted to drive away, but the clouds were doing what they did, rolling through. Only if you had been struck by lightning 4 times, you might also see every cloud like Mike Myers behind a laundry line. Roy thought that he managed to get away, only to see the cloud come back, and this time, he thought he saw the bolt that hit him. It ran down his body and even knocked off his own shoe. And the thing that should not come as a surprise is his hair caught on fire. And again, it's said that he put it out with the water that he kept in his bucket.
All right. It's 1973. It is... What is this? Almost 30 years since the first time that you got struck by lightning. And you've been struck by lightning 5 times in total. Where is your head at?
My head, personally, I'm going crazy.
Other than on fire.
Yeah, other than being on fire and then doused in the water of the bucket you keep in the truck. I'm going crazy. I'm burning my life to the ground, no pun intended. I'm moving to a place where weather doesn't exist. I'm trying to go to space.
Yeah, I would rather deal with the cold, harsh vacuum of space than the malevolent will of an angry Mother Nature that wants me dead.
Part of this, though, is that, he's still a park ranger. He's still going out being, I know that you probably love nature, but, bro, you're getting hit by lightning, 6 times. Do something else.
It's like if you got stabbed twice and then you worked at a knife store. It's like you gotta rethink this, man. I know you love the great outdoors. I know you're just waiting for those city slickers to pull up and run out of gas in their car on their way to camp, and then the little dude pulls out his banjo. I know you're waiting for that dream scenario to come around, but I think you gotta rethink your career path. I think you gotta get into insurance or something.
Oh, I see you've been stabbed 9 times. What are you pivoting your career to be? Oh, I'm actually going to Le Cordon Bleu. I'm actually going to Le Cordon Bleu. What? No, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah,
knives.
It's insane. It's insane. We're not even done yet. This is strike 5.
Yeah. 5. I can't even imagine getting hit by lightning once, let alone 5 fucking times, and that's not all?
What? Why is this happening? I would be lying awake at night constantly just being like, why the fuck is this happening? But you gotta wonder, like, was he doing that? Was he being analytical about this? Because, like, you know, like we've been talking about before, we've said it multiple different iterations of it or whatever, but, you know, it's like, what was the reason for this? Was it something about your diet? Is it something that you're wearing? Is it your environmental conditions and the way that you are behaving and, you know, what you're doing when you're outside or whatever? Like, there's all these different types of things that you can analyze and think about and try to, like, you know, workshop and A/B test. Like, maybe if I stop eating just salt cubes, that might cause, you know, solve it. But, like, was Roy Sullivan doing that? Or was he just kind of like a simple dude who's just like, I don't know, I just keep getting struck by lightning, but I guess I just got to take it day by day. Like, was he?
Yeah, he's just like, there's literally nothing I can do to prevent this. Like, literally nothing. I am not going to avoid outdoors or wear rubber shoes.
He's like, yeah, you know, the world don't move to just the beat of one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some. Different strokes. And for me, it's different strikes.
Different strikes.
5 different strikes. Dear God, please help me. My life is a nightmare.
Strike number 6, 1976. The lightning chased him. In 1976, lightning wasn't just finding Roy Sullivan, it was haunting him. He was walking alone on a trail in the park when he heard a loud crack, thunder, too close. He looked up and saw a bolt hit a nearby ridge. Then another bolt hit a tree even closer. Then another bolt hit just yards away from where he stood. So Roy turned and ran, but the lightning followed him. It kept striking closer and closer. Finally, the bolt hit him in the ankle. It blasted him off his feet, leaving a smoking crater where he had stood. His ankle was burned, and he limped for the rest of the week. Look, I'm just sorry. This is Final Destination. This is so crazy. This is a situation where, what are you doing outside? This is your problem.
Get inside.
This is your fault.
Get in the cabin, bitch. Get in the cabin.
Like, it obviously is something about his body, his bone density, the diet he eats. I don't know, but, like, it's obviously a thing about him that's extra conductive. So if that's the case, become an insurance salesman. Sit in an office. Like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, but it's not even Final Destination. It is one of those shitty, like, asylum movies.
Oh, 100%.
There's that movie, which I've only ever seen in like TikTok clips, that is about, it's a movie where touching the sand causes you to die. And it's like the whole movie is just them, like, somebody will, like, wash up on the beach in a boat, and the people are like, don't get out of the boat, don't get out of the boat. And then the guy gets out of the boat and, like, steps onto the sand and dies. And it's some low budget, straight to streaming horror movie where they were like, you know, how we could make a horror movie and spend no money is if the monster is the sand. And this is just that movie. If this was a movie, you'd be like, this is a horrible, stupid premise. He's being chased by sentient lightning. This is so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But it happened in real life.
Yeah.
This is real.
Strike 7, 1977, The Fishing Trip. The last recorded lightning strike happened on the morning of June 25th, 1977. Roy was fishing alone in a freshwater pool near a campsite when a storm began to form. This time, there was no truck, no lookout tower, no shelter, just him, the rod, and the storm. The bolt hit him directly on top of the head and traveled through his body. It burned his chest and stomach, and yes, singed off his remaining hair.
God, it's just his hair, man. It's like anything but the hair.
Roy was now in his 60s. His body had taken more abuse than any man should ever have to endure, but still, he survived. Again. The strangest part of the 7th time a man was struck by lightning might be the immediate aftermath. While walking back to the shore with a mess of fish, he was approached by a black bear. Normally, wildlife is more afraid or disinterested in humanity in the wild. However, this was a man holding a basket full of fresh fish. He might have even smelled a bit like cooked meat so soon after the lightning strike. Some claims say he wrestled the bear, but Roy himself, in his book Out of the Blue, a book about wild survival stories including his lightning strikes and animal attacks, he claims that he just struck the bear with a stick, something he said he had done over 22 different times in his life.
We were joking about this earlier. The world wanted this man dead.
Yeah, the world is just like, this guy can't be here anymore.
Like, the thing that Roy Sullivan is not telling us is that he, like, one night as he was wandering through the woods, he came upon the tree of life and he cut it down. He murdered the tree of life, and ever since then, nature itself has had a blood vendetta against him.
You know what's fucking crazy though? He didn't die from all of this.
Yeah.
You know how he died?
Here's the thing. Here's the over under on that. Here's the spread. Which thing is more fucking crazy? Is it the fact that he was struck by lightning 7 times in the course of 30 years? Or is it the fact that he survived all of them and also was attacked by animals and survived all of that as well? Which thing is crazier?
Honestly, this guy, part of me is like, is this guy an unreliable narrator? Because like for a lot of these, people aren't around. So there's a part of me that's like, is this real? Did you just light your hair on fire and you go, I got hit by lightning?
Which is also, if that is the case, is almost just as fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
If he was like a weird grifter who just, like, this was his version of I was in 9/11. Like,
yeah. But to what end? Like what? At least that has like stolen valor, like cultural clout. Like what does getting hit by lightning 7 times mean? It means nothing.
Yeah, I almost think that that's just as fascinating if this was just if this was just all his weird lie.
Let's read. So 1, he didn't die from lightning, but he did die at age 71 years old. Do you want to read his obituary here, Andrew?
Roy C. Sullivan, 71, ex-Ranger. Also, he looks like fucking Gene Hackman in this picture.
He does look like Gene Hackman. What the fuck?
He didn't really look like that in the other photo, but he looks like straight up Gene Hackman. A retired park ranger described in the Guinness Book of World Records as the lightning conductor of Virginia because he had been struck 7 times, was found dead in his home of a gunshot wound to the head, according to authorities. Also, how fucking wild would it be to read this obituary? Like, because it just drops that lore. It's like, you're reading this, like, oh, it's so sad this man died. He was a park ranger. What? He was hit by lightning 7 times?
And he didn't die from that. He shot himself in the head? That's why he died?
Police ordered an autopsy yesterday on Roy Cleveland Sullivan, 71, according to the Augusta County Sheriff's Department. Sullivan, who had appeared on the television program That's Incredible because of his close encounters with lightning, was pronounced dead at Westboro Community Hospital about 9 a.m. Wednesday. He had a .22 caliber handgun wound in his right temple, said Captain Glenn P. Lloyd at the sheriff's office. Lloyd would not comment further on the circumstances surrounding Sullivan's death, but 2 of the dead man's children told the Waynesboro News-Virginian their mother had said the wound was self-inflicted. Sullivan was a retired Shenandoah National Park Ranger, working there for 36 years beginning in 1940. Chief Park Ranger Larry Hackel said Sullivan was hit by lightning 7 or 8 times in that period, as well as once after he retired. Guinness said he had been struck by lightning 7 times. On That's Incredible, Sullivan showed off his ranger hat, which had a hole on top of it from a bolt of lightning. The World Records book said Sullivan lost a nail from his big toe to lightning in 1942, lost his eyebrows in 1969, and his left shoulder seared in 1970, and had his hair set on fire in 1972. As he was driving on August 7th, 1973, a bolt came out of the small, low-lying cloud, hit him on the head through his hat, set his hair on fire again, knocked him 10 feet out of his car, went through both legs, and knocked his left shoe off, the book said. He had to pour a pail of water over his head to cool off. I mean, first of all, this is one hell of an obituary.
Dude, talk about maybe an all-timer.
This is a goofy episode. We've been yucking. We've been laughing. We've been japing. But the dude was so haunted and terrorized by unending lightning strikes that he fucking killed himself.
Yeah, he Final Destination. He was like, I'd rather it be on my own terms. And you know what? Under most circumstances, I usually am like, look, man, don't do that. Life is worth living. For someone who's been struck by lightning, which is an uncontrollable, unknowable thing, I can kind of understand why you would be like, I just don't want to exist anymore. I'm so scared of just like breathing because it seems like there's just an unknowable pain that's coming my way constantly. I totally understand why someone would take this way out. I don't condone it. I think like, hey man, life is special and you should, exist while you can. And then there's another part of me that's like, I literally will never understand what it is like to live in this type of fear of a vengeful God. Like I do not pass judgment on this guy taking his life at all.
Yeah, he was chased by a demon almost literally.
Almost literally, yeah.
That he could never outrun.
Mm-hmm.
The implications of that, or the psychological and also physical struggle that he faced for 30 years, is something that quite literally not a single person on this planet can understand or relate to, or fully fathom what it would be like to experience that. And all the joking aside, all of the all the like how crazy it is aside, all of the like, man, it's so fucking crazy, he was struck by lightning 7 times, all that aside, like, this guy was haunted by an unfathomable personal struggle, or whatever you want to call it, that he could not get to stop. So like, yeah, like I get it too. I totally get it. Like you some people, they end their lives because they feel like they've reached this like brick wall, or they feel like they've been trapped in a hole of like something has gone wrong in their life, and they reach a point where they feel like it's unsolvable, it's untenable. There's no way I can get myself out of this. I've reached a dead end in my life, and my life will never recover back to the point previous to this. And so they make that horrible, unfortunate decision. And like, this guy experienced that from nature, from like God himself. Like, this wasn't like, I did this horrible thing that nobody's ever going to forgive me for, or like, I've suffered some kind of injury and now I'm like paralyzed and I just don't want to go on living like this, or whatever. I want to, or I have cancer and I just want to like end things before I have to go through all that pain, and I don't want to sit in a hospital room going through chemotherapy. This dude, none of that happened to him. He didn't do any of that stuff. It was like literally God being like, fuck you.
Especially when viewed in context of like, oh yeah, he was driving a car for one of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it was like, as much as I'm joking about like being like, man, don't go to the fucking woods, which yes, don't go to the woods. But also he was doing stuff at various points that are in theory counter to being struck by lightning. It's wild.
I can't even fathom it. And as dark as it is that he took his own life, number one, it's fucking crazy that he was struck by lightning 7 times, and the way he died was not even of old age or of like his body giving out, but he shot himself. Like, that's just insane. But as dark as it is, like, I get it, man. I fucking get it. It's nuts.
On September 28th, 1983, Roy Sullivan died by suicide at the age of 71. He shot himself with his service pistol. No lightning was involved, just silence. He was buried in a small cemetery in Page County, Virginia, with no monument, no lightning bolt etching, no grand commemoration. just a humble grave surrounded by trees. But in the years since, his story has only grown. Tourists still visit the old ranger stations. His damaged ranger hats are on display in local museums. And the Guinness World Records still stands. Struck 7 times. Survived 7 times. Hopefully that record can stay undefeated and folks won't be getting continuously struck by lightning going forward. Roy Sullivan never asked to be famous. He just wanted to do his job. But the sky had other plans. Roy has gone on to be referenced in pop culture on occasion. That video game mentioned earlier, Firewatch, mentions him twice, and even emo second wave band I Hate Myself wrote an EP about Sullivan called 3 Songs.
There's a little information here about like why scientists think people get struck by lightning. Basically, we don't know fully why people get struck by lightning. Like, we don't know what the conditions are for why one person can walk through a lightning storm and nothing happened to them, and then another person could be walking out there and then this lightning just happens to come after them or whatever, or be drawn to them. They believe that it might have something to do with him having unusually conductive sweat glands, or, as I kind of speculated before, higher iron content in his blood might have been the case. So he was, as you said, super anemic. Could have possibly been that he was super anemic. And others speculated that maybe it was just literally the fact that his job was always outdoors and he just was one unlucky motherfucker. I can't see how that would be the case, because there's a lot of other park rangers.
There's a lot of park rangers, and you know how many of them have been struck by lightning 8 times, 7 times? None that I'm aware of.
None. Just one. Just our boy Roy. Just our boy Roy. Just our boy toy Roy. R.I.P.
Well, I think my final thoughts on this are pretty much they've already been said. It's shocking. It's kind of surprising. I can't really believe that this is a true story. Part of me is like, did this guy make this up for clout? And another part of me is like, it's so fucking sad. I think it is true. But regardless, I don't think I'm going to be going to the forest anytime soon. Andrew, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts are, as I said before, I wasn't joking, I wasn't exaggerating. I had a very strong fear of getting struck by lightning when I was a kid. I think a lot of my fears, I've talked about all my various fears that I've had, particularly when I was a kid, and I think a lot of them were stemmed from the fact that like I would hear a story of something being possible, and then I just latched onto it. Like I took a lot of things very hyper literally. And so whenever I would hear that something could happen, I would kind of get into a feedback loop of thinking that it could happen, so it was going to happen. And the thing about that is like many of those things are ridiculous. They're completely illogical phobias of a child. And I still have illogical phobias as an adult as well. Like I really hate flying. It's like one of the worst things that I have ever done. I really dislike flying. And the entire time I'm up in the air, I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing? We are just rocketing through the sky like 30,000 feet up in a fucking little metal thing. Like, this is insane that we're doing this. But logically, as has been said many times, it's statistically proven that flying is safer than driving in a car. So it's somewhat of an illogical fear. But like, this story is like, but what if your fears were all right though? Like, this story is like, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. This story is the physical personification of, but what if all of your fears and anxieties were real? Like, it's insane.
Would this story be more palatable to you if it was like 4 times? Like, is it the amount of time, or would it?
It kind of is. I mean, it would still be very crazy, but I just feel like it wouldn't quite be if it was 4 times and it happened over the course of like 10 years. It wouldn't quite hit the same. But yeah, like 7 times over the course of 30 years, and he killed himself because it wasn't stopping, is like, it's Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like a demon who is making your deepest fears a reality.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know how you are able to live a life that's not haunted by the existential specter of like, oh, maybe I'll just go outside and then it'll start raining and I'll die. Like, that's so extreme. Like, even when he's in his house, like, it must have, like, as soon as it started to rain, he must have just, like, broken out into hives and, like, had post-traumatic stress.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. PTSD for sure. Like, when it started raining, he had panic attacks, like, for sure. I mean, he fucking killed himself. Like, he absolutely did.
Yeah. Man, it's such a crazy, sad, fucked up story. Man, so brutal.
Poor Roy.
Poor Roy. But you know what? I queef every time you guys say kayfabe. So
yeah. So we always have that.
We always have that. Well, on that note, I'm Dave Baker.
And I'm Andrew Price.
This has been Deep Cuts. If you'd like to find me on the internet, you can do so at heydavebaker.com. You can buy my book, Mary Tyler Moorhawk, wherever graphic novels are sold. And also, right now, on Big Bad Toy Store, there's a Halloween Boy action figure. We haven't talked about that on the show.
The boy. The spooky boy himself.
Yeah, back the boy. Go to bigbadtoystar.com, search Halloween Boy. You'll find him. He's right there. He comes with an Obeyer blade. For the video crew, that's what he looks like.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I forgot about the fact that we're video now, because I was gonna say I've seen it. It's really cool, but then I was like, oh, you can just show them. like just do it, baby.
Yeah, look at this box. Box with him and then Halloween Boy.
Yeah, it looks
the man
great.
of 1,000 fates.
As I told you before, I love the scale. It's the perfect scale for me for a collectible shelf figure. I really love that scale. The detailing, the paint deco, the sculpt, it's all on point. We could have very well lived in a world where it was really cool that you got an action figure made, but it kind of looked like shit, and buy it to support our boy, but it's not that great. But we're not in that timeline. We're in the timeline where this thing looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty thrilled. It looks spectacular. Huge thanks to Big Bad Toy Store, Big Bad Workshop, and Fresh Monkey Fiction for putting out this figure of my guy, the demon who lives. Pretty thrilled about it. I think it's pretty fucking cool.
You have some other news on that front that I'm surprised you haven't mentioned, but...
There is?
Yeah, on the Hellboy front.
Hellboy front?
Hellboy. Freudian slip.
The collection?
Yeah, the Halloween Boy front.
Yes, that's right. I forgot. Well, that's because this stuff has been in the works for like a year and a half, so I kind of forgot that I haven't talked about that on the show. Halloween Boy, my long-running series of comics that I write and draw, is being collected by Oni Press, and there will be a hardcover collection coming out in May of 2026. So you can get the toy, get the collection, read about the continuing adventures of the man of 1,000 fates, the demon who lives, Halloween Boy. And also you can back the Patreon if you want, and maybe that'll tie in. I don't know. I was trying to segue, but whatever. Andrew, what's going on the Patreon? What are the tiers? How does this work? If somebody is like, wow, I really would love to have a message written that just says, please, less tangents. How do I get that read on the show?
Yeah, you can back the show and financially support us to keep making this fine content that gets you through your day by going to bit.ly/deepcutspatreon or patreon.com/mysterytreehouse. They're both the same link. I just created a bit.ly that more closely ties it to Deep Cuts for the listeners in case you don't care about the larger umbrella of the Mystery Treehouse. And you can back us in 3 exciting ways. You can become a junior sleuth for $5 a month. You get ad-free episodes of the show and also the YouTube show, and you get a shout out in every single episode. For $6 a month, you become a Junior Sleuth Plus member, and you get all of that, plus you get access to our first tier of bonus content, Shallow Cuts, plus 10% off of merch drops, and a handful of other nice little features. I'm not gonna say every single one of them on every episode moving forward. We're gonna start to pare down our plugging of the show a little bit and make it a little less aggressive. But just go check it out, and there's a bunch of other cool perks there as well. And then for $10 a month, you become a senior sleuth. You get all of that, plus you get access to our second tier of bonus content, the deeper cuts tier. And we have an episode up already called The History of Deep Cuts, which is our first Deeper Cuts episode. And it's just Dave and I talking about how the show got created and how we made it and all of the various adventures of making this show. And you also get access to our monthly live stream and 20% off of merch drops and other cool stuff by going to bit.ly/deepcutspatreon. And you can also check out our YouTube channel where we make long form video explainers by going to youtube.com/@mysterytreehouse. We got 3 videos up so far about Andrew WK, the creator of Boston, the band, who was a one-man recording studio genius, and also a new episode that just came out a couple days ago where Dave talks about the bold failures and the brilliant revolutionary legacy of the Wachowskis.